Your dad used to go running every morning at 6 o'clock. And when you're 8 years old again, you started going with him. You were always behind him and he never slowed his pace to make it easier for you to keep up. The only option for you was to run faster. When you hit the point where you couldn't keep up, you would draw a line on the pavement. And the next day, you would try to beat that line. That's where your obsession with making goals started. One day, your dad asked you if you knew why he woke up every morning to go running. And you replied that it was because he wanted to add value to his rugby team and to deserve his spot on the team. He replied that that was true, but there was a much bigger reason. What was that reason, and how does it apply to all of us?
I had one fear as a kid that somebody else was trying to do more than I could. And if you've got that fear as a kid to say that I want to deserve my place in the team or in the science class or in the environmental club or whatever you're doing, if you're willing to do a little bit more, then you're going to deserve your place. My father woke up to go training because he played rugby and he wanted to deserve his place in a really well-established team. And I always thought that if I could do a little bit more than my friends, I would run faster, play better, and improve my skills as a human being. That was one thing. But when I told my father that I thought he woke up every morning at 6 o'clock to go running because he wanted to add value to his team, he wanted to deserve his place, he said to me, Mike, there's got to be something more than just adding value and deserving your place. There's got to be a reason beyond just what you think is superficial success. And that kind of was a curveball that he threw at me. What could motivate a person more than what we think is success visually that other people see from you? And he said to me that, when I hear your little steps behind me, and I know that you want to beat that line that you drew on the pavement, and I know you want to go further than that, and that's the reason why you're running behind me, it inspires me. And that's the key word that I thought was beyond any goal that we can set in our life, is how can we inspire others that would go beyond the goals that they've actually set, or inspire them to get off their backsides, to go out there and make that first step into adventure, even though it might be dangerous, it might be risky. We all need inspiration. And I was the one that inspired my father to wake up every morning to go running. And I thought he was the inspiration behind me. So inspiration is something that kind of goes two ways. The more you inspire people, the more you get inspired. And we must never think that we don't inspire other people. You don't need to be a superstar or an amazing, wealthy person to be inspirational. You just got to be who you are. And the moment that you can inspire your family, you can inspire your kids, and you can inspire the colleagues that actually work with you, that is when you really start adding value to the life of others and yourself.
You mentioned goals. We all have goals, but most people I know casually talk about their goals. It's more like I have a goal and I'll work hard to get there and hope I do get there. In search of excellence, how important is it to write our goals down, focus on them, make a specific plan on how to achieve them, and hold ourselves accountable to them?
I think that, Randy, a lot of times in life, we kind of underestimate what we can really do. Whatever you can write down on paper will be too small. I believe that if there's a process of understanding and you're living in the moment present and not always see the past better than it was and the future worse than what it will be, then you're not going to have a goal written on a paper that is really adapted to your capabilities. So I believe that if you kind of have 5 to 10% of the answers of the unknown when you write down your goals, That is when you know enough to be able to want to reach them. Those who needs 100% of the answers to all their questions before they set out to reach their goals will never leave home. They will stay at home because it's impossible to get 100% of all the answers. So if I have 5 or 10% of my answers and of the questions that I have of reaching certain goals, I set out there to go and reach them. And everything that I've done in my life, I found the answers of the other questions on my journey towards that goal. And those answers are lived experiences. Those answers sometimes makes the goal more approachable. And if you need the answers before, you're never going to leave home. That's why I believe that if you've got a solid base, and that's what's important in education, if you teach your kids to have a solid base, and then you give them wings to fly, they can head off anywhere. And if they burn their wings, they can always come back to the base because it's solid. It's there for them. So you don't need 100% of all the answers before you leave. You need just to know that you have a base and that the intentions behind what you want to do are solid.